Jesus is led through the narrow streets of Jerusalem. The sun has already risen high, and its burning rays fall mercilessly on his exhausted body. His shoulders are wounded, his back is torn, his face covered with sweat and blood. The crown of thorns presses deeply into his head, and every step becomes a true trial. The cross that Jesus carries is heavy and rough. The wood presses against his wounds, each movement bringing new pain. His strength is almost gone. He stumbles, barely able to stay on his feet. The crowd around him is loud. Some shout, others mock, some watch in silence. But almost no one dares to help. The soldiers see that Jesus may not make it to the place of execution. They fear he might fall and not rise again. They need someone to carry the cross with him. Then their eyes fall upon a man returning from the countryside. It is Simon of Cyrene, a stranger in this city, a man who was simply passing by, with no intention of getting involved in what was happening. Perhaps he was hurrying home, to his family, to his daily responsibilities. But this day changes everything. The soldiers roughly stop him. He has no choice. They force him to come forward. In that moment, Simon finds himself face to face with Jesus. He sees his gaze, filled with pain, yet also with peace and love. It is a look that reaches deep into the heart. Simon takes the cross upon his shoulders. At first, it may only be an obligation, a burden he never asked for. The wood is heavy and rough, and with the weight of the cross, he begins to feel part of Jesus' suffering. But now, he walks beside him, step by step. There is no need for many words between them. They are united by the same road, the same burden. Simon begins to understand. This is not just a condemned man. In this silent endurance, there is something greater, something deep, mysterious, and holy. Jesus accepts this help. The one who could carry everything alone allows a human being to share his burden. It is a gesture of trust, a gesture of love. God allows a person to walk beside him, to take part in his journey. Simon is no longer just a passerby. He becomes one who shares the cross. His steps may still be heavy, but something new begins to awaken in his heart. Compassion, understanding, perhaps even faith. The crowd continues to move. The shouting does not cease. But beside Jesus, Simon experiences something entirely different. Silence within the noise, a meeting that transforms a person from within. This station reminds us that in each of our lives, there are moments when we encounter the suffering of others. Sometimes it comes unexpectedly, just as it did for Simon. We do not plan it, we do not seek it, but we are faced with a choice, to pass by or to stop and help. To be near someone who suffers is not always easy. It requires time, strength, and inner willingness. Sometimes it even changes our own plans. But it is precisely in these moments that true love is born. Simon teaches us that even forced help can become a path to something greater. What begins as an obligation can turn into an act of mercy. What seems like a burden can become a blessing. When we help others carry their cross, we not only ease their suffering, we, ourselves, draw closer to God. For in every person who suffers, the presence of Christ is there. Are we ready to notice those around us who carry their cross? Do we have the courage to stop, even when we are in a hurry? Can we offer our shoulder, even when it is inconvenient? May the example of Simon of Cyrene teach us not to be afraid to be present, not to be afraid to share in another's pain, not to be afraid of a love that requires action. Because perhaps, in the very moment when we help another, we are truly meeting Christ himself.